So we usually start on a word. Did you have a word that like came to mind when I asked you that?
I literally looked around this room of mine and because I'm in my living room and I'm looking around and I see clothes. I see a fucking cat that doesn't appreciate me. I see another cat that doesn't appreciate me. I see a new book that I bought that I'm probably not going to read. I'm going to read it. I fucking better read it. It was $12.
Oh, damn. Let's go with discipline.
It's Johnny Late Night! And now here's your host, Johnny Rogers!
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to episode number 76 of the Johnny Rogers Show. Before I get into my guest today, and I'm very excited for my guest today, I have to tell you that if you want these episodes ad-free, exclusive, and before anyone else, you got to go to patreon.com backslash getting my tongue tied here, / the Johnny Rogers. That's the only place that you can get this show before anyone else. Like I said, it's like $1 a month. You're gonna love it. But without any further delay, my guest today, one of the first shows I went to actually in Ottawa when I moved here was his show. It was this super cool like secret show behind a Coke fridge that wasn't really a Coke fridge. It was like a door, and it was just such a fun time, and then made me really happy and excited with the comedy scene that's happening here in Ottawa. He's also in charge of Ruckus Productions, and they also have their own podcast, which I'm sure he will bring up as well. But ladies and gentlemen, without any further delay, please welcome my friend yours, Liam Rado.
Hello. Thanks for having me, man.
Yay,
Nice to
thanks
be
for coming
here.
on.
I like this shit. This is fun. Can I
Gets you
swear
all
on this?
jazzed up. Oh, yeah, go for it.
Fuck yeah.
Just because my name is Mr. Rogers doesn't mean you have to refrain from.
All right, so
You
then
can get
today
as
I'm like,
nasty as you want.
hey, I was like, I can go to a podcast or like, who am I? The Johnny Rogers show, like Mr. Rogers. So I was like, I don't know. I guess I'll find out.
Imagine I'm like, hold on, I have to start this segment with a lesson for the kids listening from home. I put on my sweater. Imagine if I just totally changed, like I look the way I am, and then I'm like, hold on, I gotta get ready for the show. I'd come back in like a cardigan and moccasins that no one can see.
You got to take off your shoes before the camera's rolling. That was so weird.
You're like, he put on gray hair for some reason. I guess it's just a way to stay respected.
Like, did he really?
No. Just fuck with you.
Fuck, I totally thought that. That's really funny.
Mr. Rogers was the one person where you were kind of like, he seems too nice to not have any demons in his closet. You know what I mean? Like, usually those people that make it into that stratosphere, that like Bill Cosby, perfect example, right? Like, he's America's dad. He's telling everybody like what to say on moral issues or whatever. And then all of a sudden he's like the biggest serial, sexual assault person in the world next to R. Kelly.
I was thinking about this the other day because, like, not to get deep, like my dad passed away in 2014, and the other night I was really stoned, and like a Bill Cosby joke happened on the TV, and I was like, my dad died thinking Bill Cosby was America's dad still. I was like, oh my God, Dad.
Oh God, yeah. Fuck. It really makes you think about like even like, so who was it? Is it Scott Yarwood that has that great joke about like Kobe not getting to see? That joke kills me. Yeah.
Kobe got to die before COVID. He missed COVID, guys.
Yeah, everyone's like, poor Kobe. It's like, it's pretty great that he got to miss COVID.
Oh man, people.
I love humor like that.
Oh, it's good shit.
Yeah. So we usually start on a word. Did you have a word that like came to mind when I asked you that, or are you kind of like?
I literally looked around this room of mine.
I love when people do that.
And because I'm in my living room and I'm looking around and I see clothes. I see a fucking cat that doesn't appreciate me. I see another cat that doesn't appreciate me. I see a new book that I bought that I'm probably not going to read. I'm going to read it. I fucking better read it. It was $12.
Oh, damn. Let's go with discipline.
Yeah, right? Yeah, it's Once Upon a Time in Shaolin, the untold story of WuTang Clan's $1 million secret album, the devaluation of music, and America's new public enemy #1.
Oh, that story's crazy.
I'm looking forward to it.
Was that was it Martin Shkreli that bought that? Yes.
$2 million, and then
That's
they got
crazy.
seized, and they sold it for like $4 million to cover his shit.
That's wild. That guy had a wild life. He was on the Boys Cast. I don't know if you listen to that with like Ryan Long and Danny Polchuk. They actually interviewed him. I think he called in. He might have called in from. I didn't see the video, but I remember there was some weird situation. He either called in, he's like on probation, or he called in like from prison or something. Like he did like the interview like over Skype. Like he wasn't there.
That's really funny. There was this old 6ix9ine song. It was when Bobby Shmurda was still in prison, and Bobby Shmurda got a verse, and the beat cuts, and it's just him over a really shitty jail phone. And like fucking 20-year-old me is like, this shit's so hard.
Oh man, we should, because that to me is like a big scam, right? Like what he pulled off of kind of getting this licensing and then being able to crank for that much. Maybe it should be scams.
I think it's a scam, definitely.
Yeah. But he even did that too with like the medication. He bought like medication and like jacked the price of it or something. That was his first kind of like offensible thing.
$3 a pill, because I saw this video the other day. It was like $3 a pill, and then he bought it, and then he's like just under 1,000 a pill. Because I think about like,
that's so nuts.
I mean, maybe it's been a little weird lately, but Canada with the universal health care, it's such a thing. I don't have to worry about paying for shit. And I was thinking about like when my dad was sick in America, we would have went bankrupt.
So many people do,
right? Because it's like, I don't want to live in a world where I have to be like, fuck, I'm really sick, but I can't afford to go to a doctor. But it is,
man, that's the way it is with like dentistry right now though in Canada.
Really?
Like if you don't have a dental plan, or you make like, they just set up something new, I think, for like people that make under 30,000 or whatever it is a year, where you can apply for like some government dental benefit, like it's specifically for the dentist. But if you make over that, but you also work somewhere that doesn't offer a dental plan, you're just kind of paying out of pocket for every surgery or whatever, right? It's not included with your universal health care.
I make like probably just over 30, so I can be working 7 days a week just so I can be kind of poor.
Isn't that a bitch though? It's like the cutoff, let's say, is 30, and you're like, well, I make 31. Do I still qualify? Like, what the
No,
fuck?
he's like, fuck you. Because I'm still like, I used to be on disability, and my doctor was a fucking G and got me on there for life, even though I don't need the money. So I can I can reap those rewards. But now it's finding a dentist who will accept it, because a lot of them are like, no, we don't take a social assistance patients.
Oh yeah, that's fucking annoying. They're picky with their patients. I remember I had a dentist who like, she felt annoyed that she had to work on my mouth. I got that like annoyance from her, and she was kind of like I could tell she was just going through the things like they're usually like, oh, is there any part of the process that like scares you, like, are you afraid of needles, are you like, the grinder, is that fine? And I was like, I'm fine with all of it as long as it gets fixed. I'm just terrified of what the bill is going to be, because it's just like going to a mechanic. They kind of like, you're like, there's something wrong, and they take it in, and then you come back and there was like 20 other things that were wrong, and the bill is 3 times what you thought it was going to be.
That happens to me at the bar usually because I don't have a car. Like, are you serious? I don't. All right, I guess. I mean, not like I go anywhere else.
You're like, I did drink 12 beers. Oh, damn. All right. What's your most expensive bar tab?
Oh, because I'm not like a huge drinker, and I only started drinking and going to the bars more when I started doing stand up. I would say probably like 150. And that was me like eating at some point.
It's a good night. Okay, yeah, you got food in there.
And that's me getting, it's like I started off on the vodka sodas because I'm trying to lose that weight. And then at some point in the night, I was like, fuck dieting, give me Pilsner.
You're like, what's on special? Just give me that. Let me
Oh
crank
man,
back 20 of those.
people at my bar come in and do that because we have a happy hour every day, 3 to 6. And I only work there on Tuesdays because it's my side job.
Mhm.
And I definitely overshare, but there's this guy who I've met like 3 times sitting at the bar, and he's like, "Yeah, can I get a local lager, $5?" I'm like, "Yes, you can." And I'm pouring it, and as I'm pouring it, not looking at him. He's like over here. Oh, when the DMT runs through my brain when I'm dying, I'm gonna see this. And he just looked at me, and I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I overshared. Here, your beer." And then switch seats. I was like, I don't know what to tell you, man.
That's the fucking like weirdest part about the service industry. Like the service industry back in the day, like the exchange made sense when it was like kings and queens getting served by peasants. The peasants just felt grateful that they weren't getting executed that day. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they weren't in the mood to overshare. They just wanted to do the job, get home to their family, and hopefully give them some bread or whatever. But now you have like regular people getting service and they're being served by regular people, but there's this like arrogance that comes from being served by someone. Like he didn't pour that beer
Yeah.
himself. You poured that beer for him. That he feels that like, that kind of lowering or whatever. Like I worked as a waiter forever. Like I know that feeling of when someone just like snaps their fingers or clinks their cup for more coffee. You're like, you son of a bitch.
I get the clink. There's this couple of old guys. I feel like I've taught them because sometimes they'll look at me and they just hold up their glass, and I'll be like, "That's a glass," and they're like, "Yeah, it's empty." I'm like, "Well, fuck. What are we gonna do?" I'm like, "Hey, I didn't drink that. You emptied it. What do you want me to do about this situation? We're in a conundrum, my man."
You're like, maybe we use our words and ask for another.
I got a guy who always sits in the back. He's a nice guy, but like he's at some point when he's done, he'll hold up his glass empty and does this. He goes, "Wrap it up." And I'm like, Jesus Christ. Just say, "Can I have my bill?"
Yeah, geez. Do you find like working in a chaotic environment like that kind of helps your energy for stand-up, or like do you use like are you more of a storyteller on stage when it comes to like mining that stuff?
I would say I'm a storyteller because a lot of the jokes I do tell are things that have happened to me.
Mm.
And the chaotic environment really does work. I love like whenever I'm at the bar, I'm doing like my best work when I'm slightly overwhelmed.
Yeah,
And it definitely
under
helps.
pressure.
Yeah, right. And then I get to try jokes on people all the time, which is sweet.
That is good, especially with their drinking. You're working to the same type of audience,
right? And I get great throwaways. Like we have this beer. It's by Beer Nerds. It's called the California IPA. So like somebody will ask for it, and I'll put it on the table. I'm like, I freshly squeezed the Californians this morning. They go, "Yeah." I'm like, "Yeah." They were none too pleased. And then I walk away and I go, time to react to that.
I always love the corny. I love the corny ass jokes of like I'd bring like coffee, like I'd work breakfast serving, so I'd bring coffee over to like a table of old ladies and just be like, "Do you guys need sugar or are you sweet enough?" And they're like just start dying. Like it's the funniest thing they've ever heard. I'm just killing it like 7 a.m. just
I love that. Somebody called me today because I host bingo there, and they're like, "Yeah, is there bingo tonight?" I'm like, "No, I wish there was. I host that." And they're like, "You host that?" And I was like, "Yeah." They're like, "We saw you do comedy last night." I'm like, "No, why? Where?" Oh, I felt bad because last night was the first time I've ever gone up on a stage, and I thought to myself, I didn't prepare anything. I just did strictly crowd work.
That's good to test yourself like that. That was like the most freeing times is like kind of stepping away from the material a little bit.
Oh, it was fun.
Yeah, that's what you wanted it to be.
Well, that's because like Logan said I should do it. My buddy Logan Brown, and I was like, I don't know. And he's like, "Are you afraid to bomb?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Don't be afraid to bomb." I'm like, "Oh yeah, you're right. What's the worst that can happen?"
Yeah.
And the first thing that happened was I was bullet, and there's a guy in the corner and he hadn't touched his soup since the comedy started.
Damn.
So that I played off everybody doing shit. It was just right.
Got a couple soup jokes out.
I was wearing a bucket hat, and I was just using my usual vernacular. And then Jeff Davis got up on stage and just copied my vernacular. It was really funny.
Yeah, he's good at like reading that.
The lady who called today, she's like, "Yeah, you're the guy who's kept putting salt on our table." I'm like, "No, that was the other guy wearing my bucket hat." I was like, "I'm sad." He's only 6 feet taller than I am.
Yeah, you're like, how did you confuse those two, miss? But how did you get into comedy? Like, when was, because I know for every comedian there's that, maybe there's the first, like, you really enjoyed comedy or you grew up watching comedy, but there is that moment where you kind of watch it and go, I think I could do that, and then you actually go and do it for the first time. So what was that like for you?
So I won't okay. I was kind of a hermit from like 18 to 24. And I was kind of like, I can't do this because I have this mental shit going on. Got a good job. Found out I was good at selling stuff because of my full-time job. I manage a bong shop. So there's tips, commissions, and the salary to dope. And then I started going out a little more, and I went to Swizzles.
Oh yeah, I know Swizzles. Yeah.
I went to Swizzles. My buddy used to do it's not drag. It's somewhere in the mix of drag. I can never remember what the fucking name of this show is. Burlesque. That was it. Okay, so he's singing burlesque there, and then we found out they had a comedy night. So I went there, and then I met a comedian named Janelle Niles. I think you've interviewed her before.
Yeah. She was recently.
Oh, okay, would love Janelle. Shout out Janelle. Scotland. She's promoting, so she gave me her card. I run the show over at Eddie's Diner. Come out and check it out. So I was like, cool. So I went and checked it out. Then after, she gave me this hug and was like, let me know when you have 6 minutes. And I was like, oh shit, wait, this can be a thing. And this was peak COVID. This was like my first 8 months of doing comedy was behind plastic.
Oh, okay, wow.
So
did you do Zoom shows?
Never once. Never once. I remember I was talking to a comedian. I'm like, how many shows have you done? He's like, well, I've done like 20, but only 3 in person. And then a comedian in the back was like, you've done 3 shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard they were brutal.
I just couldn't get behind it. Like, I'm sure I could see how you could, like, you couldn't, I couldn't do stand-up over Zoom, but I could just be funny on camera is what how my approach would have been if I had done it. But I just, again, same thing, not in the right mental headspace in the middle of the COVID pandemic to be like, now I'm going to hop on a webcam and try to make faces laugh. Like, it's just, it felt too different.
COVID was when my life started, which is people hate hearing that.
No, I know. I feel the same way, actually, though.
Just like I got the job and then comedy, and I met some awesome friends, started getting out more, met Kia and Logan, my business partners. And then we started our Ruckus, and then bartending job and fucking more comedy. And I've been taking it more seriously since I threw some of these bad boys on. It's funny. Logan messages. I got a message from a guy in Cornwall. He's like, yeah, do you want to go to the show? I'm like, yeah, sure. There's Logan's on it too. I'm like, sweet. So I call Logan. I'm like, hey, man, we're on the same show together. He's like, you're welcome. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, hey, man, I told you. You stop dressing like an asshole. I bet you. I was like, oh. I'm like, fair play, man, fair play. And ever since you throw on sleeves, Johnny, I'm telling you, the world's your oyster.
Truly, yeah. People just don't think that you're here to complain or throw a chair, you know? Usually you see someone pull into an establishment with no sleeves on, you're like, shit's about to go down. I don't know what's going to happen. He's either going to yell Darlene or he's going to...
I think it came with when I joined the comedy community, and it feels like such a deep thing, and the boys make fun of me so much. Like, you did a press run for you wearing sleeves now.
Yeah.
But when I was like, I felt like I had to make myself into this super zany character that whenever I walked into a room, I was always noticed and I was always the loudest one, even if I wasn't talking.
Liam, you have a giant red beard. People will notice it.
I know, right? Ridiculous. And then I don't know. I threw my fucking sleeve, and then I was like, "Well,
I
what
threw
are
my
people
sleeves
doing?"
out.
I was like, "Why are people giving me spots? Why am
Yeah,
I
yeah,
getting spots?"
yeah.
Then I started dressing a little differently and figured out how to match my clothes at 27 years old.
Yeah.
Oh man,
A
yeah, the
lot of people
boys are
still
mad.
don't know that.
Oh man, I'd ask my girl, I'm like, "Hey, how do I look today?" They're like, "You don't match." I was like, "Okay." Yes, yeah, I've
What do you
been
mean? I
calling
got
them.
a red Adidas tracksuit on and red Adidas pants. So what's I'm
Yeah,
matching.
right. I don't even call them outfits anymore. I'm like PP Ensemble boys.
Yeah. Start calling it the ensemble. Watch you turn around and end up doing like a fashion run with like Balenciaga or somebody.
Please get me in those new fucking space boots all the kids
It's
are
like
wearing.
Liam's journey from sleeveless tops to the runway in Paris.
Oh fuck yeah, dude! I like that. Well, because like, it's funny. I was like, they feel constricted. Sleeves
Ah.
straight stuff, and then on top of that, me trying to make myself into a character, and then I've lost 50 pounds, and then I was like, oh shit, these actually aren't that bad, and there's so much more selection. Not buying
Yeah.
all of your clothes at Mark's Work Warehouse. Shout out Mark's, they got they got great quality clothing, but like as a 300-pound man, you got to be like, all right, is it gonna be red or blue?
Yeah.
Oh, plain black tee with a stripe. Let's go. And big and tall stores too. I went to a couple of those when I was a lot bigger. They're there for big and tall.
Yeah, I was gonna
They're
say, do
not.
you have to be big and tall? What
Yeah,
if you're just tall?
that's what I'm saying. Okay, I was wearing 4Xs before, and like the tank tops that I always wear, and they would cover my belly, which was fine. I got a 4X from there to try it on. It was down to my knees.
Damn.
They don't have a big and short store.
It's like vanity sizes though, probably, right? Like a small there would fit you great, but in the outside world, it'd be a 4X. Like
Yeah. Oh man, I've been ordering so many fake jerseys, and I ordered 3, and none of them. One of them was it's a Rodman Lakers jersey, which I think is sick, and I put it on today. It has the triple XL tag. Like,
not on the side.
I was like, it's so fucking tight.
Not the tag being on the fucking thing.
Oh, well, that's what they used to do, like the old school ones. But yeah, I guess like the fake ones, it literally says triple XL down here. I'm like, oh, wear that. Oh, it's
um,
good shit.
I got another comedy related question for you because I know a lot of people in the entertainment world in general, there is a lot of rejection that we face. I know you said that you did sales. Do you think that like your time working in sales kind of helped prepare you for audiences not liking a bit, or like bookers saying that they don't want to book you right now, like any rejection in general?
You know, yes and no. Like, yes to the because like I think comedy was harder because when I get rejected on a sale, I was kind of like, it happens. I'm really good at this, and it took me longer to learn it in comedy. And it's actually early on. Like it's one of those things. It's just the way this business works. Well, you can see guys rocking open mics, and you're like, why aren't you getting these spots? And then you see some people who are getting club spots, and you're like, what's happening right now? Not even from just for me, right? And early
Yeah.
on, and I think it was because like I got a lot of rejection early on, like messaging people, hey, can I be in a show? Can I be in a show? They're like, oh, I don't think you're ready, and I'd be like, well, what the fuck? I think I'm ready. I've been rocking open mics. Let's
Give me a
put me in,
shot,
coach.
coach. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's a lot better now because I was gonna do this. The reason I had this like epiphany because wasn't there was a show that the boys were gonna be on and they asked me to be on, and the guy was like specifically said not me, and I
Oh
was like,
wow.
fuck, I'm gonna have to figure this out. And then I was like, maybe it was, and one of the main reasons was how I was dressing, and I'm like, maybe
That's so crazy.
it is crazy, but like at
I
the
don't
same
get, dude, no, that's such a stupid reason to not book someone. That's such a cop out, like shitty excuse. I remember talking to, I don't know if you know who JJ Lieberman is, but he's a Toronto comic that moved to New York City. And I remember the first kind of like trip that he had taken there and come back. And I was a young comic, and I asked him, like, is there Is there like a certain, like, I feel like it'd be really tough there. Like, is there like a certain style that everyone does? And he goes, they don't give a fuck if you're wearing a pink Power Ranger suit. Like, as long as you're funny. He goes, are you funny? That's it. Like, so if I was to not book someone on like a comedy show I was producing, I would just straight up be like, hey, I just don't think, like you've gone before, I don't think you're ready. And like, that's okay. I would rather someone tell me I don't think you're ready so I know where to improve on than like, I didn't like that you wore shorts or a sleeveless shirt. Like, that to me is so stupid because you're like, I'll wear a shirt, like whatever I need to get on the show, you know?
Well, it was like one of the reasons because like for the first year I was in comedy, the guy I started Ruckus with, we were like, fuck the clubs. And I was like, yeah. And then I was like, oh shit, maybe not fuck the clubs. I do like doing comedy.
Need the clubs, yeah.
In front of 100 people who were like, you know, I need that. I need that serotonin and that dopamine. And he had never like seen me. He just like heard rumblings of what other people were saying about me. So he was like, I gotta see him first. So I did like a little audition, the kids have been calling it. And it went well, and it was good shit. And you know what, it helped me out too, because like I've noticed like I'm getting a lot more attention. I mean, taken more seriously because I've been dressing, you know, better and not wearing sweaters that say the word "come" on them.
That's funny, man.
It is funny.
That's what I go back to. Like, I can get it if you're doing like a, you know, just for laughs gala. Yeah, put on a suit. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's gonna be televised. Sure, dress super nice, but like a club show or a bar show, it's like.
Well, that's how I'm doing it. Like if I'm going to an open mic, like yesterday I went to an open mic. I was wearing like a red bucket hat, a Bo Jackson jersey, I had the fucking red Timbs on. And then the last show I did before that was at Absolute, and I wore this like a normal pants. I took off my hat because I thought it'd be like, you know, like a sign of respect.
You should do the Bert Kreischer thing. Just take your shirt off right before you go on stage.
And I feel like I gotta get to a certain level before I start doing shit like that. You know what I mean? Like,
I wonder if he did that like at the first open mic that he went to. He just got nervous and took his shirt off, and it just stuck.
That's funny, dude. I love it. The boys call me the Bert Kreischer of the group.
That's so funny. It's cool too that you guys started so it's Ruckus Productions, I guess is what you guys go by. And I like that because I spent some time in Toronto and I saw some people kind of like creating factions, but not like in Ottawa. Like, we have a group of comedians that started a comedy company that produces comedy shows together, and you're kind of using all those same interests to help each other, right, and help each other grow. And then you've got what Janelle Niles is going on, supporting like the Indigenous community and kind of giving them spots and a voice and a place to go to. And I've always had this theory that like newer comedians the rules aren't going to really apply to them the same way that it applied to people who started in the 90s and the 80s, because your ability to learn is like tenfold now. You can listen to, if you start today as a comedian, there's thousands of hours of podcasts of people that have been doing this for 40 years, giving advice and tips and what to do and what not to do. There's a million books that you can read. Like, you're just going to be at so much more of an advantage because of the wealth of information that's out there. And look at, like, you guys are like just starting out, but you have a company together. Like, that's the fucking move, you know?
Yeah, shout out Danny the Foreigner Meyer. It was his idea that started this company.
Smart idea.
Me and him just, it was like a movie, man. It was like we made a baby together.
Yeah, walk us through it.
Me and Danny we were doing comedy, and his first show was The Competition, the Yuck Yucks Mike McDonald Summer Comedy Competition. Say that 10 times fast. And he made it to the second round, his first ever time doing comedy. And then after, he was kind of doing a couple open mics, and I saw him at Swizzles, and I was sitting at a table with two other guys, and they're like, he sounds like he's like South African. I'm like, you guys are dumb, man. He's Scottish, obviously. After the show, he told me he was ready to quit comedy. He is just he didn't tell me, I found this out later, but I saw him like, hey, dude, you're really funny. Come to Comedy at Ralph's, which was the first show I started producing, which lasted for about a year. R.I.P. Comedy at Ralph's. That was a fun time. And then me and him did a show at Meow That's Hot, and I met his girlfriend for the first time. And it was like we walked out the door, and I had the option to go right to the bar that I work at. Wasn't working there at the time, with a friend of mine and her boyfriend who did not like me. Or, yeah, right. He was just giving me weird eyes that night.
You're like,
Yo, you looking at my girl? And I'm like,
oh
I'm
my
in a
God.
relationship, my guy.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
no threat.
Just happy you're here to watch me perform. That's it.
Yeah, man. Please hear more about my dick.
Yeah.
Or I could go left with Danny and his girlfriend, and I was like, "Fuck it, new adventure." So I went to Cleveland Central Pub. We drank, and that man can hold his liquor. And then we just talked about things we liked in the community, things we didn't like at the time. Some of my opinions have changed, but it did kind of start what was Ruckus. And then me and him got a show at the Cleveland Central Pub. We had no idea what the fuck we were doing. But somehow, like we were doing walk-up music, we were being loud, we were being like, ah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then no, we were always filling out, we were getting traction. Fast forward a couple months, Kia Mazar comes back from tree planting, and he's like, who the fuck are all these guys with 80 shows?
Yeah.
And he approached us he had this like hip hop, like rap battle / roast show that he wanted us to help him produce. And then we just never ended up doing that. And then he just kind of naturally became part of what we were doing. And then Logan was kind of like in and out for a while. I didn't really know what he wanted. And then we started the podcast, and then he's like, yeah, I'm in. And then we were doing all the open mic. We were doing a bunch of, because first we were doing a bunch of shows so we could learn what we were doing. And also there weren't a lot of shows when I started, at least.
Mm-hmm.
There was like maybe 4 a week, and then like 1 or 2 bi-weekly. And then so we started a bunch, because after a lockdown, I didn't get a spot for like 2.5 months. That's because I wasn't known yet. Nobody knew me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, why are these people getting spots 3 times before I am? Well, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then we did all those, and then, we lost a couple of shows, like comedian content, or we didn't know what we were doing. So we lost a lot of the open mics. Then it was kind of like an epiphany that we just kind of stick with the show that's making us money, which is Strip Joker, which is a fucking awesome show. We love that show, and that makes us the money for our podcast. And then Danny went his own way. He didn't have time for this anymore. He wanted to be a chef, and he's a fucking wicked chef. And now we have Ruckus Productions, where we produce Strip Joker. We want to make content. We're like patented and shit. There's a website. Oh my God, we've got business cards coming up. It's awesome, and I feel like I got purpose, right? Because I work 70 hours a week. I do 6 days at one job. I bartend today on my day off. Bi-weekly Tuesdays, I usually do bingo right now, or like the next Tuesday. So like because I love being out, making up for lost time, because I didn't get my first job until I was like 24. And like when I'm at work, man, like I'm clipping those clips that I don't know if you see them on Instagram.
Yeah.
And we all got like different strengths, right? Like I'm like the promo salesman. That is what I'm good at. So whenever people are coming into my work, like one of my favorite lines is I'll be like scanning something. I'm like, hey, while I'm doing this, you guys should probably subscribe to my YouTube channel, because this is going to take me like a really long time.
Yeah, that's a great way to sell. I used to do that shit all the time when I was like surfing or whatever, and I'd like casually mention that I had like a comedy before I had a podcast. I'd mentioned that I had like a comedy show coming up. I'd be like, hey, you should come watch me do comedy. They're like, what, you do comedy? And then it just starts that whole conversation. I'm like, sick, we're building fans one table at a time.
Well, people love it, man. It's funny. And people in my bong shop, we have 8 stores around Ottawa, and I've worked at like basically all of them at some point for like an extended period of time, where I started having regulars. And there's this one girl, God bless her soul. We had a store in Orleans, and she messages through the chat one day and goes, if one more fucking person comes in here and asks for Big Nasty, I'm gonna lose it. My boss gave me that name.
That's so funny. Where did the name come from?
So I really for a long time was like one of those people where I'm like, I'm dumb, I have no skills. And then when I got the job at the bong shop, I was like 1 day a week, and then he just started giving me a lot more hours, and he realized, oh shit, this guy can sell. And I love selling. When somebody comes in wanting $20 of stuff and they leave spending $200, that's what gets me hard, man. And it's like, I'm straight up, it's kind of manipulative. Like I'm gonna.
That's
like,
what sales is, though, right? Like,
and I love it. I love it.
I love it.
Hey, man, like I'm not gonna sell houses. I wouldn't buy a fucking house for me.
Yeah.
Like, this house is fucking dope, ain't it? Like, but like I love selling. It's like we had our Bank Street location, and it was 2 summers ago, fucking bumping. The colleges are coming to town, and they got that fucking OSAP, and they got no mommy, no daddy telling their like unfinished brains what to do with their money. And I'm like, no, dog, you definitely need this. Yo, like, what? You're not gonna have this on campus? What the fuck do you
Have
mean?
you ever tried dabs? I mean, get into it.
Oh yeah, man. No, yeah, you definitely need this piece. So one day it's like, I'm the king of stealing OSAP money.
Oh my God, no.
And then me and Uber Eats, but the kids, I had like 8 kids in the store. It's like a 100-year-old building, so there's no AC. I'm running back and forth. I'm sweating, and the phone rings, and I'm like, fuck. So it's my boss, and I'm like, hey, what's up? He's like, you busy? I'm like, yeah, I'm busy. Like, what's up? Like, has anybody ever called you Big Nasty L? I said, never once. He goes, I do now. Then he hung up. He's been calling me Big Nasty L for so long that whenever we're in the store doing shit, he goes, hey, Nas.
Nas. He just starts calling you Nas for short.
My nickname's got a nickname, man. That's where I'm evolved.
Yeah, you know you made it when your nickname has a nickname.
Oh, we are out here. I love it. I love the job. I need constant human interaction, because when I wasn't working, my mom would be like, what are you going to do with your life? And I really shouldn't have been picky, because I didn't graduate high school. You know, we out here. But my mom was, I'm like, I just wanted, she's like, you should go to a warehouse or clean or get into a trade. And I'm like, I want to talk to people all fucking day. That is all I want to do. And now I get to do that, which is dope. And comedy's fun with that. Comedy makes, that's the dragon you chase, right? Is laughter.
Yeah.
Like
how did your family react when you told them that you were doing comedy or wanting to be a stand-up comedian?
Man, I've always been like the funny guy in the group growing up, right? And my biological dad, so like my dad who died wasn't biological, but he raised me. Me and my bio dad, you know, we're buddies. Like, we do drugs together sometimes. You know what I mean? Like we're buddies. He's hilarious. His dad, my grandfather, hilarious. They're just super funny guys. So I was like, I told them I was going to try doing stand-up, and they were like, that's cool. And then I started throwing them clips and stuff. And as soon as I started doing stand-up, I became Bill Burr to them.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Families either take it 2 different ways, right? They either hate it or they're like, wow, so like when you doing the arena.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I get you can use that in your skit.
Yeah. That's always my family is like, they're bad for I don't get offended by anything, but it's funny, like pointing out like, oh, I could see how someone would view that as a microaggression. Where if you were like, when they say words like your little skit, my little skit.
Oh, man.
What do you mean little? 6 minutes isn't little. It's a lot of time to tell jokes.
when I got my first 6 minutes, I really thought, I was like, that's not that long. I practiced my set meticulously. I was off stage in about 3.5.
Oh man, I love when you just undershoot it so bad like that.
Do you remember the first thing you ever said when you grabbed a mic on stage?
Oh yes,
I do. Opener? What was your first opener?
So there was a great comedian, he's still doing comedy in the Oshawa area and Toronto area, named Darren Pyle, and he was the host. And I thought it was funny to just disrespect the host immediately as soon as I took the stage for my first time ever.
Ballsy. I love it.
I opened with something like, everybody big round of applause for Darren Pyle of shit. And I'm like, just the stupidest. And it's not like he bombed, like he did well, like he did, you know what I mean? Like it was a fine set. Like I just thought that was funny to me. Like I was just like, your last name's Pyle. Like, I don't know why it made me laugh.
That's so good. The first thing I ever said on stage was, my parents found out that I eat ass.
That's a great opening sentence.
It was a stupid joke about how like my mom was like, that's disgusting. Yeah. My dad was like, no, you gotta get somebody to suck your dick at the same time too. And I'm like, I didn't know that was possible. What the fuck? Now my opener is I love it. And I think it's my forever opener. I'm like, what up? It's your boy, well-fed Sheeran in the house.
Yeah.
And
That's
people are
great.
like, yeah, the singer. He's a funny guy. You look like him.
Yeah, everyone always focuses on like, oh, what their closer is gonna be, like, oh, you want to leave on a good note or whatever. But I always am like so meticulous of like that question, like, what are the first words out of my mouth gonna be? And if it's not a setup to a joke, I'm wasting my time. Like I hate when I feel like nervous and I kind of start going like, how's everyone doing? It's a Thursday, right? Everybody's good. You drink it. You know what I mean? Like it's just you're kind of going nowhere. You're just kind of trying to get some energy going. So I always try to be like the first words out of my mouth, it's leading you to a punchline in some way.
I like that. Well, that's what I've been kind of doing because I'll go like well-fed Sheeran and then I'll look at everybody. I go, how you guys doing? You doing good? I'm doing great. And then I do a story about how I started taking Vyvanse.
Vyvanse?
Dude, Vyvanse changed my fucking life.
What
I
is
guarantee
What
you,
is it?
Vyvanse is ADHD medication.
Okay, all right.
And word for word, like my joke, but what it really is meth. Oh, like okay, without
Prescription
Vyvanse,
meth.
I would not have gotten promoted. When I started doing Vyvanse, I wrote a new 6 minutes.
Vyvanse, this is your commercial.
Dude, hyper focus. Everything. It's horse blinders. I'm doing this fucking thing. That's how I get my clipping done. That's how Vyvanse is a godsend. Shout out Vyvanse.
Wow. So did you feel like, oh, I might have ADHD, and then like went into a doctor and they diagnosed you with that, and then we're like, or you just get it from a guy at work that
Hey man.
No, Greg said that Vyvanse will take care of my shaky leg syndrome.
Yeah, but he keeps telling me to snort it. I don't know what
yeah. I don't know. In the bathroom?
I got diagnosed when I was like 5.
Ah, okay.
And I was like on and off it for a while. And then when I hit like 18 or like 16, I'm like, I don't want to take this poison anymore.
Yeah, rebelling phase.
Yeah, right. And then I don't know. It's just like I couldn't focus on shit. Like I was good at selling, but I wasn't good at anything else on my job. Like when people get upset, oh, why is Liam can sell, but like he's not cleaning. They're like, yeah, it's a money business. And then I started taking, and then even the boys were like, because I couldn't focus on work, I couldn't focus on anything. And then the boys were they kind of suggested it, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'll give it a try again. Like, what's the worst that could fucking happen? So I call my doctor, and he's just like, yeah, 30 milligrams. There you go. And he's a G. He is a G. He's great, man. I remember one time
with the Connect.
Yeah, dude. One time I hurt my back, and I went to the urgent care, and I was like, my back hurts. I've definitely done something. They're like, seems fine. I'm like, I promise you, it's not. And he was like, take Motrin. I'm like, sweet. I went to the Shoppers. Motrin's just another Advil. And I was like, you cocksucker. Call my doctor. He was like, yeah, T3s will be ready tomorrow. I'm like, my man.
T3s, damn, that'll put you down.
But yeah, I know. Vyvanse fucking, it's insane being focused. It's like, because like, I guess ADHDs, you don't have that thing in your brain to focus. So now I got like this fucking thing, and I'm like, I'm unstoppable.
I wonder how, if we're gonna see ADHD like go up because of like the increase in technology with like, I wonder if that plays a role in it.
I think it does. It's
all, you know,
that's because you think about like movies in the 1950s were like 3 hours long, right? And people are like, what the fuck? Now, sometimes when I'm going through TikTok, I'll see a minute and a half video, and I'm like, nope, too long. And the kids who come into my work too, like everyone's got the debit on the phone.
Yeah.
But a little trick that I do, because there's no tip option if you tap, but there is if you insert. So I'm like, tap's not working, put in your card. And sometimes, like, I've had kids be like, I don't know what my PIN is.
Oh no.
I had a couple of kids looking at their coins, and then he was like, which one's the 10 cent?
Oh,
these are like 18, 19-year-old people. I'm like, the fucking sailboat, my G.
The one with the 10 on it, you asshole.
Figure it out.
It's fine if you don't know, but you can use your eyes and kind of put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah, give me my fucking dimes, man.
Jesus. Speaking of being that age, though, like I have a question I always ask my guests is if you could make a phone call to 15-year-old Liam, give him a piece of advice based on what you know now, knowing it doesn't affect your current timeline whatsoever, what would you tell him?
What you just said at the end totally changes that because now it's
yeah, that's why I love that caveat.
I kind of I like where I'm at and I like my journey. I would have said what I say to everybody: figure it out, man. It's not that deep. Because I used to be such an angry, the world's out to get me. Who's gonna fuck me today? Like if I could spill this sweet Perrier here and be like, day's ruined. The eat a dick rest of the day. And I probably told myself just to calm down, be more rational, right? Like I would get so, and now like the boys, Kia will see me. I just be smiling. He's like, "You had a good fucking day, didn't you? Fuck you." I'm like, "I always have a good day. Every day's a good day, man."
Just brings you back to earth.
I'd probably tell myself, just to like figure it out, be a nicer guy. Well, not that I was mean to people, just be more rational about the way life is. Be happier. Every day's a gift. I sound like a goddamn Scientologist when I talk about how positive I am, man. I'm like, no, you really got to try it. Being happy, it's fucking awesome all the time.
Yeah, it's not some religious philosophy. It's like just be happy, be nice.
Yeah, I've been reading some religious scripture lately.
What's your favorite?
Right now I'm reading the Quran.
Oh.
Yeah.
Anything stick out to you in particular?
Muhammad and
they love Muhammad. They mention him like every 2 seconds.
They do not like the Israelites.
No.
I figured that part out so far.
yeah, you're like not a big fan of those guys.
No, but it was cool. I don't know. And the boys were roasting me, right? Like, why are you in the Quran? Are you gonna convert? I'm like, no, I'm just fucking. I want to know.
Yeah. I had that same curiosity too. It's just like I want to see what's going on over there. I'm not gonna join in, but I like to see where the conversation's headed.
I mean, I don't know, man. Like, they got good snacks. I'll go to a meeting.
Like I tried meditating, I don't like that. So Buddhism is out. Like,
my dad always says something. He's like, meditate. And meditating with ADHD is fucking impossible.
I can understand how it would be hard, but it's funny because meditating, people think that it's like turning your brain off, and it's not really that. It's kind of like it's kind of like going to the gym, but for your attention and your focus. Because when you're meditating, like what you're doing is like to start, you're just counting your breaths and you're focusing more on like the counting of the numbers and using that primary focus that's like doing your reps, right? Like counting your breathing in and out, counting the numbers like you're doing a set. And then after you finish counting to 10 or whatever, you just try to focus on like sounds or different things that are happening around you, and not so much let your mind wander to like what you have to do that day. And if it does, that's okay. Just recognize that, oh, I got distracted, and then go back to counting if that helps draw your focus in. That's why people do, they do like the Om chant. Like there's like that. It's the same thing as like counting the numbers. It's like a primary sound to bring your brain back to a center point of focus, so that when you do have to focus and you're not meditating, if you find yourself getting distracted, you can kind of use that to bring yourself back to the task at hand. So it's like, it might be difficult with ADHD to start, but it might actually be the thing that helps you focus, which is like the problem with ADHD.
In this hand, I got everything you just said. But in this hand, I got 30 milligrams of Vyvanse.
yeah. Like that's the thing. That's the thing is like we've made every like back in the day before they had the pills, they just had to be like, well, I guess I'll just figure it out. I guess I'll just breathe or I'll go for a run or something to try to like get out all this energy I have. And now it's like we have a pill for fucking everything.
Well, that's how it is, and I'm not like against people who take medication. I took medication.
No, me neither.
For years, right? And then I figured out like I didn't really need it anymore because like I got the diagnoses and whatnot. But like what some people I think don't realize, and my old roommate was like a prime example of this. Such a smart, gifted person, but really I can't do this because I have this. And I'm
Mhm.
like, well, you can do whatever. Like, you get your medications, get your health in order, and then find a good doctor. Half the battle. The
Yeah.
other half of the battle is like, you got to do it yourself. Like, you got to go out and get that I almost said Sunny D. Vitamin D.
You gotta go fill up on Sunny D's. You're like, that's not how you get your vitamin D? I thought that's how everybody got their vitamin D. That'd be such a funny joke if you thought Sunny D was vitamin D.
Dude, yesterday on the podcast, Logan looks at me and goes like, we're simpatico right now. And I was like the breadcrumbs? Dude, until 3 months ago, I thought arugula was cheese.
It sounds like a cheese. I can understand.
Thank you, dude. The cook in the kitchen's like, hey, I need money to eat arugula. And then I give him the money. He comes back in the kitchen. I'm like, where's the arugula? This is it. I'm like, dog, that's lettuce. And that's spinach. What do you mean? Popeye eats this. And he just looks at me, he's like, it was just this moment of him being so fucking dumbfounded.
Well, people always are like that when it's something that's normal to them. It's like, that doesn't mean everyone knows. Like, fucking relax.
See, I had that same moment because I got a little dangly earring here, and it's WuTang Clan,
Right.
which I'm obsessed with. And the lady goes, "I love your Batman earring." I was like, "Oh no, this is WuTang Clan."
Batman.
She goes, "No, it's not." I was like, "I can promise you, it is." And she goes, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "Yes, this is WuTang Clan." And then she went, "What's WuTang Clan?" I'm like, "Why are we talking right now?"
You can't say that that's not what it is when you don't know what the thing is. That's
and
like,
you know what? I still love customer service. I love it. I bump into the weirdest fucking folk, and it kills me.
I wonder if we should call the episode something along those lines of customer service or sales or manipulation. I thought that was a good word.
Manipulation of sales?
Manipulate, because I always like adding like it's like one word to kind of describe the episode for people on Instagram that are just scrolling. They're like, oh, they're talking about it. You know what I mean? I wonder what, yeah, maybe it'll be something along in those lines, but I'm gonna, because I always keep these podcasts tight to an hour for the people watching and listening. Go follow Liam Big Nasty L613 on Instagram. Don't forget to check out at Ruckus Comedy. And go to ruckusproductions.ca to get all of your comedy needs in the Ontario. You guys branching out?
We're branching out. We got Ottawa Strip Joker March 18th. We're going to Kingston for April 20th. And so far we're doing Valley. We're going out. You can hire us. We'll do bat mitzvahs, quinceañeras, funerals, weddings, divorces.
Strip shows.
It doesn't have to be strip shows, but like if you want me to, I'll do it. Like
that'd be a great. The strip show would be a great like bachelorette party kind of like, you know what I mean? Like they hire like male comedians that strip off whenever they don't land the joke.
Oh, we'll do it, man. We'll do bachelorette and bachelor
Reach
parties,
out.
Man. I'm the token gay of the group, so like I got you on both fronts, man.
There it is, folks. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, thank you so much. Don't forget to leave a 5-star review. And if you're on YouTube, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. But for now, I've been your host, Johnny Rogers. And until next time, stay classy, everybody.
You've been listening to The Johnny Rogers Show. New episodes air every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.